Okay, so what's up, Will? Thank you so much for making the time all the way from Los Angeles, my brother. Great to have you. Love your Instagram, love your energy. I found you on Your Life Unfiltered, and at the same time, I saw your page. So I love supercars. I don't know all the logistics, but I love NASCAR. So I love watching racing and everything. I love the way you handle a camera, and you're just your drive for content creation is really good. So I kind of wanted you on here to kind of talk about your story, and anything mental health related, when it comes to doing your work, the story you have behind you, and what got you into supercars. That'd be cool to know too.
Okay. Basic story starts with getting into supercars. I was like 12, 13 years old. Got, what was the game that came out? Need for Speed Hot Pursuit 2. And had a Lamborghini on the front, and I was like, cool, my whole personality is now this car. So I want to do whatever it takes to get a supercar, and I want to do it in LA. And the LA dream kind of started when Midnight Club LA came out, and I got to drive around in the streets of LA from, North Carolina. And I was like, all right, cool, supercars in LA, that's a dream. So somewhere in the mix there, I added in a career with the Air Force. So I went to North Carolina, UNC, studied media production and aerospace, and
Wow.
commissioned as a lieutenant in the Air Force. I went to their space program and was the face of the West Coast space launches. So I basically talked to the media about what our mission was, what we were doing, what our capabilities were, things like that when it came to SpaceX, NASA launches, and nuclear weapons test launches out of Vandenberg Air Force Base. I did 1 year in combat camera because the Air Force found my YouTube channel. They said, cool, you can make videos for us now. So I moved to Utah, did 1 year there as a flight commander for the combat cam team. And while I was there, I was servicing my Mustang at the same shop enough because it kept breaking. And I met this guy named James Stradman who introduced me to the world of YouTube. And between his affinity for supercars and my dream to do YouTube and car stuff, it all just kind of worked out great. So in 2018, I moved to LA and chased the dream of owning a supercar, which I finally bought this year. So that's where the supercar dream started, and that's kind of me in a nutshell.
Awesome. That's so much to unpack there. The Air Force, you just being into supercars and stuff. And I noticed that like on your Instagram feed, you drive like a R8. Is that your personal supercar, or is that something you just kind of use? Oh, wow. Okay. So that was like my dream car growing up in high school. So great to know that you have it.
Yeah.
And, so what got you, what made you pick that kind of car? What was that, what was the thing that drove you to kind of, feel like this was the car that I'm going to drive and, decorate and like show off in a sense, because it's a cool car. I love it. I love how low it is. It's strong, so.
It's really simple. It was the cheapest supercar you can buy. That was the only reason. Like, I always wanted a Lamborghini. I have other dream cars that are supercars. Like, I've always wanted the Murcielago. That's the one that started it all. I think the STO is the greatest looking car on the planet. I would much rather have that, but a sub $100,000 supercar was all I have the budget for right now, and it's got a Gallardo engine in it. It's literally a detuned Lamborghini, so it made the most sense, and it was super reliable. So I knew I could get something with a transmission and an engine that I wouldn't have to replace. So the R8 made the most sense.
Do a lot of people look into like R8s, or do they usually go for the high end stuff like Lamborghini and stuff, or does it matter? Is it just more so about your preference? Like, does it just for show, or because logistically all the internal parts and stuff could be the same, right? And then
they are the same.
You could just okay, so you could deck it out, right? So why do people go for Lamborghini? Just the name, I guess?
Yeah, that's a good question. So a lot of people don't realize that Lamborghini and Audi are technically both owned by Volkswagen. So like when I tear my car apart, I see Audi rings and Lamborghini logos on all the internals, on the transmission, on the engine, on all these different electronic components. And when you tear apart a Lamborghini, and I'm speaking from experience because I work in an exotic car shop, I'm not a tech, but I'm around cars that are disassembled all the time. And you disassemble a Huracan or a Gallardo and you see all these Audi rings on everything. And that's because everything is owned by Volkswagen. So the Huracan and the Gen 2 R8 are the same car, and the Gen 1 R8 that I have and the Gallardo are the same car. The only difference is the R8s are detuned from factory, but if you tune them after you buy them, you literally have a Huracan or a Gallardo equivalent. The only difference is the aero and the body on the outside, and the brand name attached to it, and definitely the price tag that comes with it. which one you buy, I think just depends on your budget. There's people out there that like to be a little more low key. The R8 is called the executive supercar, or even the poor man's supercar. If you want to be a little more low key, you can drive around with something a little more classy, a little more subtle. If you like attention and you want to be a loud presence, then you can't beat Lamborghini. So I think it just depends on what you're going for and how much money you want to spend.
Yeah, because I noticed like in one of your Instagram pictures, you showed off like the engine and how loud it is for the R8. Is that something that came with it, or is that something you installed in your car? Because it is look really fascinating, and the way you made the colors like blue and white and stuff, I really like that color scheme. I doubt it came like that, right? You had to probably engineer it to become like that.
Yeah, the car was completely stock when I bought it. It was all black, and then the exhaust was built by Voodoo. So there's two companies that worked on the car. Voodoo Design manufactured the exhaust system, which is the center exit, which at the time of installation was the only center exit on the Gen 1 that existed. They literally built it in the shop that I work in. And then Voodoo Autosport basically did all the mods to it and serviced the car whenever something goes wrong or whenever we want to do something crazy like add flames. Voodoo Autosport is the brick and mortar shop that has all the lifts and the tools and the techs and tons of years of experience behind it. So, you know, if I come in and say, hey guys, like I've got Bilstein coilovers we want to put on, they can slap them off. We get Vossen wheels, we can put them on. We get XCOM tires, we can put them on. If we need a tuner, we got HD Tuning come in and tune the car for flames. We want more flames, we, you know, kind of modify it. If we needed vinyl, the wrap design came from Next Level. They teamed up on it. So there's a lot of people behind that build. It's definitely not just me. I'm just like the face of the guy that drives it, but there's a lot of really, really high end, very credible brands behind that supercar that are making it very unique.
That's amazing. Is that usually always the case for most supercars? Because all these people are working behind the scenes. Is this something that you knew you were going to get yourself into, like in this kind of business, or was this something that just, you know, like an opportunity comes your way and knocks on your door or whatever, right? Was it one of those things? Because like, what was the story behind it? Because it seems like you're very invested into it. You're very enthusiastic towards it, and I can totally tell, like, you know, like I want to get a supercar now that you're talking about it. So I'm like, damn, there's so many components to it, you know? So. Yeah.
So I think I'm taking a very unconventional way of owning a supercar because I'm not in the right tax bracket to own one. But that's what makes the story so interesting and relatable, is because there were no shortcuts in this equation and there were no handouts. So you asked, like, you know, how do people pick what car to get, whether it's an R8 or a Lamborghini or something else? I noticed a trend because I spend a lot of time with people that own supercars. I go to a lot of events and things, and I ask them, you know, what was their progression like and how did they get there? And a lot of people start out with something like a BMW or an M4, like that's like first nice car, or maybe a 5.0 Mustang, something like that. And then they get a little faster. They usually get like a GTR or maybe an M series BMW or an AMG, something like that. And then they graduate from that to their first supercar, which is almost always an R8, or maybe if you can reach a little further, it's going to be a base level Huracan or a Gallardo. And then you usually go from there to like a McLaren and like a 570, or if you can make the jump, a 720S, and then it only goes up from there. But you see like these levels. So I jumped from V6 Mustang to V10 R8, and that's because when I moved to LA, I wanted to build a YouTube channel on affording a car that was cool enough and fast enough and relevant enough to have a YouTube channel and to go to all these events, but do it on minimum wage. So that V6 Mustang was supercharged, wrapped, runs on E85, all the mods and the wheels and everything, through a combination of leveraging a couple of sponsors, but mostly just being really smart with my money and funneling it into one thing. So once I got that Mustang done and built, I was able to use it as a marketing tool to kind of build more of a following and get more credibility. So when I finally took the financial jump to get an R8, I had a lot of supercar related brands that wanted to hop on an R8 platform and wanted the audience whose attention I had, because there's a lot of kids out there that are born with a lot of money or have business opportunities that most people don't, or just people that are really, really good at making money. And maybe they're like in their late 30s or 40s or something like that, and they have the bandwidth to buy a supercar. It's not quite as fun as somebody that's younger, that's doing it in a way that anyone can do it. So that was kind of the point of my YouTube channel, was the journey to the supercar and how to do it in a way that didn't involve like any kind of cheat codes or anything like that. So you're saying like you want a supercar, literally just follow the progression of my YouTube channel and I map it out like from point A to B,
Wow.
exactly how I do it. I'm very transparent with how much money I make, how much I spend on the car, how much is sponsored. Like there's
Wow.
no flexing. Like it's literally like, hey, this is exactly
Yeah.
how I'm doing it. There's no secrets here. There's no like, so that's how I ended up with it. I didn't know how I was going to get there. I just knew by all means necessary, the goal was to get into a supercar no matter what it took. I'll admit I had a goal to get there by 30. Now that I'm 29, I realize that 30 is actually kind of early to get a supercar and it takes a lot of work and I'm still early at getting it based on how much money I have coming in, but I still made it happen. So it is still possible.
That is amazing. That's amazing. And I think your story is inspiring everybody that wants to get a supercar or wants to invest in that business, because I believe you go to car shows as well, right? So I'm sure you learn a lot from these shows and just how people kind of move up the ladder. And I'm sure you make connections that you find people, like-minded people like yourself that are also, up and coming with this, supercar business. Is there something that you learned from these car shows? Because I feel like there's a lot of connections there.
Yes.
And I also feel like there is ways for people to learn who don't know much about supercars or just want to connect with people on a very relatable level, especially if they're into cars.
Yeah, that's a great question. So this is going to be like such a golden takeaway of an item that I've learned.
Awesome.
Car shows are a gold mine when it comes to networking and opportunities. I do more, I guess you could just say do more damage in the week in the couple hours I spend on Saturday and Sunday morning at car and coffee events or late nights at Origins events and these like Fast and Furious type meetups, talking and networking with people and doing business versus during the week trying to send emails or DMs or things like that. Because right now, my most valuable asset is not the car. It's not property. It's not like any kind of money I have saved up. It's literally my network. It is just invaluable. The people that I can just dial on my phone and call up if I need something or a connection or the business opportunities I can create with that network. And just all of us share the same common passion of cars. Now, back in like the boomer days, golf was that medium of shared interest where people could do business. They always say like, oh, you want to like, go to the golf course and chat up with people and stuff. But, you go to a car show and let's just say there's 40 supercars there, which is a normal number in Los Angeles or Orange County. You have 40 owners of businesses or marketing firms or people that understand YouTube just have been able to do it well enough to earn the supercar that they pulled up in. And you have a talking piece right in front of you because everybody likes to talk about their car. So you can walk up, ask them a couple questions about their car, and then boom, next thing you know, they're like, oh, wait, you want to learn more about real estate? I happen to, own this firm that loans money, or I happen to know a lot about becoming a broker, etc. And you just figure that out at Sunday morning at 9 o'clock for the cost of $0. So I would say people that want to build a network and find a mentor or create business opportunities that they can't think of on their own, or really just even do sales, go to car events. Even if you're not into cars, just have a little bit of interest, enough to be able to break a conversation. And that's all you need. And me going to 2 to 5 of these events per week, it compounds. And I have just built the most incredible network of people that I can now use to help sponsor this car that I'm in and learn how to create more streams of income, and the list goes on.
I think it also builds confidence too, right? Because even if you're more introverted and like you're more into the techie parts of the car, and because sometimes when you get so techie and stuff, I feel like a lot of people who are really tech involved become naturally introverted because they're so into their work that they forget how to speak with other people. So going to these car shows, maybe they can break out of their shell, relate to someone about car stuff, but then they also find out that, hey, there's a different world from cars, and there's a way to, break through that inner gap, just from like a technical standpoint too. We deal with that at work, we deal with that in life, and I'll definitely check that out because I usually go to coffee shops typically, but a car show is something I've been meaning to go. It just, I haven't had a chance, man, but it seems like you've learned a lot from these car shows. Is there any, with all this work that you do on a day-to-day, is there any mental health, battles that you have? I know I personally have anxiety actually due to car accidents. So it's funny because we're talking about cars, but is there anything when it comes to like mental health that, you want to voice out to people, especially with just working like the way you work and stuff? Because it sounds like a lot of work, man. And congrats to you, man. I tip my hat to you. Like that's a lot of work. So should be proud.
Thanks. I appreciate it. Mental health related, I would say, when I was in the Air Force, it was not a fun time. The Air Force, for the record, has the highest number of suicides, more so than, and I'm pretty sure this is accurate, all the other branches combined. I know we're leading, but I think we're more than everything put together. The work environment is not ideal. You don't get to go work where you want. You don't get to work when you want. You don't get to work for who you want. And oftentimes you don't even get to do the type of work you want to do. So when you don't have that fulfillment that you're looking for, or if you're like me and you're in a room that has no windows, no Wi-Fi, no phones, and a really crummy internet line that only lets you use email, it's very easy to lose sight of a big vision and your goals, or really just happiness in general. So I had to find other ways to create energy where in an environment that quite frankly sucked it out of me. Now, I don't regret being in the Air Force because it was something I always wanted to do, but it taught me something which was, I felt like I was almost being trapped, and I was watching all my friends graduate college and go and do all these fun things and get to chase their dreams right away, when I was stuck literally in a postage stamp of a room, disconnected from the world. So I after a couple of weeks of doing it, I was like, all right, I have two options here. I can just sulk and be upset about my circumstances, be a victim of my circumstances for the next several years, like a prison sentence, or I can find a way to capitalize on the silence and create a slingshot so when I get out of the Air Force, I can pass all these people. So how can I create that slingshot, where I'm actually kind of building potential energy, so when it comes time to go to LA, I know how to pass everybody? And for me, that was reading, because you don't need an internet connection to read. You can read a book anywhere you want. So I subscribed to Forbes magazine. I read every Forbes magazine cover to cover when it came in. If I had any downtime between meetings, anything like that. And then I would always have a book in the pocket of my uniform. So I read a ton of books. And then I would always log on to YouTube right when I got in the office, because it barely would load a YouTube video. It would take like half the day. I would pull up a podcast or something. Like I would watch a lot of Impact Theory or Gary Vee videos. I would pull up like 2 or 3 tabs and just let them load. That's how bad the internet was. And then by the end of lunch, if I'd wrapped up enough of my work, I could watch or listen to one of those videos in the background so I could learn in a different medium outside of reading. So it's just a lot of information absorption over a couple of years. And I wasn't distracted by friends or going out or spending money or anything. I was just focused and learning. So mentally, it was challenging because I had to trust the process, that there was a light at the end of the tunnel. There was a goal, a hunger like I can't describe, to be in LA and to chase the dream that I'm living right now. And the byproduct of that is that now that I'm living the exact life that I had envisioned every single day, that I had to clock in and live a carbon copy of the previous day while in the Air Force, is gratitude. Because now, even when I have a bad day, or I'm like, oh my God, it's raining outside right now, it's pouring, all my friends are just off doing their own thing, I got no plans, and it's dark at 4 p.m. now. Like, I have every reason to just be like, oh, no, today kind of sucks. So a couple things went wrong today too. Like, I have every reason to be upset, but I'm like, you know what? Do you know how hard it was to get to just this average day that I'm having right now? And how it felt to be stuck in where I was before. No, today's a great day. I can literally do anything I want. I have the freedom and the bandwidth to do anything I want because I created this life. So like this morning, for example, I had a regular drive to the gym. It was pouring this morning. I was like, oh, I could sleep in today, right? I could do nothing. And it would be totally valid. It'd be like, you know what? Just mark it off today. And I was like, no, it's raining. Let's go get wet. Let's go. I hope it starts lightning too. So I take my car out. And I was like, you know what? I'm already late to the gym. I drug my feet getting out, but I was like, you know what? Let's be just a little bit later and be a kid for a minute. So I took the car to a parking lot and I was like, can you drift an all-wheel drive R8? I don't know, but I figured it out. So I'm drifting this car around. I ripped the whole front splitter off the R8. The whole thing hit a puddle and it just
wow.
And I was like, you know what? Charge it to the game. That was fun. I was a kid for 10 minutes.
That's crazy.
then I finished the gym, and then I went to work today, and I was like, okay, well, how can I do some things today? How can I create? How can I find something to look forward to so that way my mental health stays high energy? And for the record, I don't have any caffeine in my system. Like I don't take caffeine unless it's an emergency. So
Really?
like I'm literally running off of just pure gratitude and energy each day, which sounds crazy until you try it. And I remember talking to one of my friends, Billy today, Billy Ray. She's a TikToker, and we make fun of each other on TikTok all the time. Nobody really seems to understand that we're like best friends. And I was like, we need to plan something like to look forward to, because you could die tomorrow. Like it could end tomorrow for no reason. And I've had it happen to friends. I've had it happen to coworkers and like people in the Air Force who literally wake up the next day and they're not there. And that's like, that could be me. So how do I plan something, whether it's a trip or a purchase or a goal or something to study for or a level of credibility, something, so that I can be focused on that. And then when I get to there, I can start planning the next thing. So like this last thing we did was SEMA Week in Vegas was huge. Like the car was on display in the center of the biggest car automotive trade show in the country. And the day it finished, my dopamine levels went boom. And my mental health was like, no, it's all over, you know? So some people, they ride that wave. They're like, oh, it's all over. Now I'm sad. And I'm like, no, let's do what's next. What trip do we need to plan next? What goal do we need to twin turbo this car? Do we need to make it shoot bigger fire? Like, do I need to figure out how to buy a property amidst this like upcoming like economic crash? Like, what's the next big power play that I can be focused on? So I think having that power play in mind and always be looking to the next thing and constantly planning the next thing, so you have purpose, and then having gratitude in the moments along the way, even on average days like today, I think are two keys to me keeping my mental health at a high level.
Wow. Like that's amazing, man. I mean, just seeing what you do every single day is so inspirational.
Thank you.
Yeah, I really appreciate it. I think you just reading and just spending your time, all that time in the military, the discipline that came out of it, you feel like now you have so much ample time to yourself that you're just able to do so much in this life now, right?
Yeah.
That's what I got from everything you said. It just feels like everything that you've honed your skills and the mental fortitude and the discipline that you gained is allowing you to do all these things because you're so passionate about everything. I think it's created
100%.
some kind of passion, and it's like a burning passion. Like I can tell you're hungry. It's not, and you have a high energy without caffeine, which is also adding on to your demeanor. So I love that. Is there something about you that you learned also in the military when it comes to confidence and discipline? Like, was it something, I guess, like you learned when it comes to like focusing on just the car scene and stuff? Like, was there any of it, like the competitors or anything that, like, how do you not let things get to you? Because there's a lot of stuff to worry about if you do think about it. So how do you take every day at a time? Because one thing I struggle with is the scheduling sometimes. Even like today, like scheduling a meeting or scheduling even a call, even, right? Things get pushed back. How do you assess stress, and how do you also get over that hump? Because sometimes there's a lot going on, right? There's people asking you for things, or and you're also at the gym, or you're also doing something. Like, how do you assess stress, and especially like not like high stress, so how do you assess that?
Okay, you asked a lot of questions there. I'll take the first one here. You said something about what did I learn about myself in the military that applies to the car scene? Maybe I think it was a combo of two. In the military, there is something that is up here in level of importance. And in the car scene, the same concept is here in importance, and that's dependability. And I filter people out of my circle almost overnight that have this level of dependability, importance, and I only hang with people that are up here because people up here respect your time. People up here respect their word. People up here show up when they say they're going to. They're going to finish something when they say they're going to do it. and you don't have to think twice. It's what we call a fire and forget missile in the military. You know, it tracks its target, you fire it, you forget about it. Same thing with a person or a friend or a person you're dating, anything like that. Dependability's got to be up here. And in the military, that is the status quo. Unfortunately, I can't say the same about the industry that I'm in. And I've come across plenty of people that own very successful businesses, that have endless amounts of money, that have garages full of supercars, but couldn't be bothered to be above here on dependability. And something I've learned is that no one person holds the key to your success. No one person is the gatekeeper to whatever it is you want to do. I don't care what you want to buy, what you want, who you want to meet, like where you want to go, what title you want to have. No one person can take it from you. So if you need to cut someone out that doesn't have an equal value item to what you value as a top priority, you don't need them. And the other thing that I learned about myself in the military is having security in who you are. Because in the military, they trained me to be a leader. That meant that people depended on me. And that meant I had to make decisions. I had to make them quickly. And I had to own them if I made the wrong decision. So if you have this extreme ownership component, you start to have confidence in yourself because you understand, hey, I'm the one that people look to when a decision needs to be made. So you can't have your confidence or your ability to execute can't be in question if you're going to be a leader, especially in the military. So same applies to, what I do in business now, or even with like content creation, is like you were talking about like stress. And then like if someone maybe like there's a bad business deal or just like whatever it is, it's like, have some confidence in how you look, in how you speak, and what your brand stands for. Like I've had people in this industry, like, try to trash my brand and my name behind my back. It happens. If you're going to have an audience that pays attention to you, if you're going to do a lot of business, you're going to have some that don't work out. It's just normal. And people are going to tell whatever narrative they want. But if you are so confident in your brand and you lay down the groundwork of what values are important to you and you stick to those, the people that really matter aren't going to care or going to recognize why you made whatever decision you made if someone ever speaks ill of you or something bad ever happens. And it doubles in strength if you are confident in how you make your decisions and what you choose to do. But with that said, I want to stress on the big lesson that I had to relearn and relearn this year, which is extreme ownership. So if you mess up or you make the wrong decision, you reclaim all the power of the entire situation if you take accountability for that mistake. Some people see it as like a weakness, or some people see it as admitting fault. But the concept of extreme ownership is something that the Navy SEALs came up with. And I think they know a thing or two about how to be a badass and how to have a really bulletproof brand. So if it works for them, then it works for me.
Awesome. And I'm by the way, I'm taking notes here.
Cool.
Because you have a lot to say, and I feel like, just some of the things you say, for me, I'm gonna have to re-listen to this and just, gauge more of your time, just because there's so much to learn and to understand about extreme ownership. Like, how does that work? And, how does one take extreme ownership of themselves? Because you have to hold yourself accountable for everything. So it's kind of hard. I hope I could do that, but to do it like rigorously every single day I would be top of the world if I could do it, right? So it's one of those things, I guess you learned, but how do you, to this day, because you're a content creator. So what made you, like, I guess now, like, the question I'm wondering about is like, what made you be a content creator, and how do you keep yourself accountable?
Okay. I wanted to be a content creator just because the idea of social media and having your own brand and getting just full control over your business and your lifestyle was interesting to me. And I love to create. Like, I'm an artist at heart. I grew up, my mom was like the art mom in class. So like I spent a lot of time around the arts and music growing up. But camera, I took a video class in high school, and I was just looking around and I was like, why am I like, I was like straight up, like without sounding cocky, I was better. I was so much better than everyone else in my class at editing. Like the editing software, I picked it up so quick. And I was like, oh, this is what it's like now. Like when I go to the basketball court and I'm absolute garbage and my friends are like seemingly just all good at this one sport that I literally cannot play to save my life. Editing was my basketball. So I was like, all right, well now let me dive more into this. Let me run with this like natural talent that I have, which anyone can learn editing for the record, but I just seem to have like a knack for it. So editing and video, I learned like 15 plus years ago. So I've been doing it for a long time. And just by nature of what time we live in now, happens to be a really in-demand skill set. So I got lucky. And then meeting the Stradman, the YouTuber, I got to kind of see the behind the scenes of how he took a very large channel and made it one of the biggest channels in the automotive YouTube space. So getting to watch him, and then also a guy that I managed, Life Apollos, and see what it looks like on the inside of a successful YouTube channel was very exciting to me. Like I wanted that. So just following the footsteps of them and taking their advice, I think was how I became a content creator. You asked the second question. What was it?
What keeps you accountable to become a content
accountability
creator?
Because if you stop uploading, your audience goes somewhere else. Like attention is very short-lived. So my YouTube channel has slowed down a lot lately because I've been spending more time on the Voodoo Autosport page trying to get their YouTube up and help them build their business. It's more important to me than my own YouTube channel, and I know I can always revisit mine. But I really doubled down on TikTok. TikTok and Instagram Reels are where the attention is at right now, the short format videos. And they don't take very long to make, so I can make a lot of them for my channel and Voodoo Autosports, the guy that I do marketing for and content creation. So our IGs and our TikToks are on fire. Like we're getting millions and millions and millions of views on these like little short videos. So the accountability is that if I go a day without uploading a piece of content to either channel, what is the point of this? Like, that's why I'm here. That's what I'm doing. My whole life is cars. Like if I don't upload a piece of content, then I just wasted the day. So like at a bare minimum, you got to upload something. And then if I don't upload, if I don't create, because I've done this before, like I'll go a couple days, like, you just get kind of burnt out, that inspiration starts to build up, and that itch to make something new starts to like resurface. Because creativity is not like motivation or like drinking a Red Bull. You can't just get it when you need it. Sometimes it just has to hit, which also translates to me staying up late sometimes or getting, pushing back something or canceling something, because that creative energy will hit. And you know it. If you're a creator, you know what it feels like. You have to act on it. You have to make as much as you can in that moment. Sometimes not eating. Sometimes like I'll be up to like 4 a.m. editing because I'm like editing a photo, and I'll be like, okay, let me do this one next and this one next. And I'll be like 50 photos deep. And I'm like, oh shoot, I'm screwed tomorrow, but it was worth it because I had creative energy randomly from 11 p.m. to 4 a.m. and I just had to use it, when it was there. So that helps with the accountability, building up content when you're feeling the energy. So that way you have something to post when you're not feeling the energy. But just recognizing the fact that if you stop uploading and you wait too long, your audience that you work so hard to win the attention of will go somewhere else. Same thing with a girl, by the way. You got to put in the effort.
Of course, bro. You got to put in the work, right? Right now I'm putting in work too with that. So, gotta always do it. But no, I completely feel that, man. I mean, sometimes like I get that like itch to be creative all the time. And when I upload. But then when I don't, I always feel like this weird urge to like I'm not doing enough, or I'm not good enough, or I need to like just upload like tomorrow. But then I also realized too, like cadence is very important, and also understanding quality piece of content. So like understanding like what I'm posting is important. Like for you, I'm thinking right now, like having you on the podcast will bring a lot of diversity. And second of all, understanding of new knowledge, extreme ownership, understanding how it's in the life of somebody that handles supercars, also understands driving, but also cars, but at the same time, like was in the military, understands discipline and understands accountability. I think that will bring a lot of growth towards people who want mental health advice. And at the same time, even if not everybody else has mental health struggles, I'll be honest, like some people just are very like strong-minded and they don't know what certain things in mental health are. But I think it's good to take away from those people too, because having a strong mindset can also help you, practice everything, like gratitude every day. Like I write things down all the time to be better, because there's areas I'm not weak in. But like for you, you have a knack for creativity, and especially editing and uploading every single day. With me, I'm more of that basketball player, like you said, but I learned to edit and I learned to like find like what I'm good at, and it's like understanding how people work. And it's just great, So definitely.
Cool, man.
Yeah, appreciate it. So are you right now, are you planning on, I guess, like focusing on just cars and content creation, or are you also planning on moving elsewhere too? Is LA like the hot spot right now? Because I've heard Miami is also very big as well for content creation. So what's your take on that, Because I feel like you're meeting all these models too at car shows and stuff, and what do they tell you? Do they tell you like the move is LA, the move is like somewhere else? Like how does that work?
Okay. First of all, I wouldn't listen to models on like where the move is. I think they'll show up wherever the action is. So I don't think they're good barometer on where to go.
True. Yeah.
But the move for me is always going to be LA. I've always wanted to be there, and I'm in Orange County now, like an hour south, because the crime rate in LA is absolutely ridiculous. And I lived there. I lived in Hollywood for 2 years, and I loved it. And actually it was 3 years, and I had to leave because you get yanked out of your car in broad daylight, literally. And I had friends get yanked out of their car in Beverly Hills to have a watch stolen or potentially get stabbed. And I was like, nah, I'm good. I don't need any of that. So I'm going to stick around in Orange County because the car scene here is unmatched. Like I'll go to a Cars and Coffee this Saturday and I will see hypercars. Like I will see Koenigsegg's and Bugattis on a regular basis. I saw an F40 and a Bugatti yesterday. Like today I saw a 720, an STO, a 9 GT3 RS, and like they're all over this area. So I'm right where I need to be. The next move for me is going to be real estate. Because when I talk to a lot of these supercar owners, the guys that have the really cool supercars, like the ones that I want, they all have one thing in common, and that is real estate. Either they are loosely involved where they are an investor, or they have multiple rental properties, or they have commercial real estate, or they buy and sell something. So I need to learn how to get more equity in property, and also how to rent it out or to be a broker, something. Which I'm studying right now. And remember, I talked about always having like that next beacon, that next thing to look at. My two things right now is a cruise with my friends, like a boat cruise, something fun, and then something I'm working for, which for me for a while was SEMA, and now it's going to be an MLO, a broker for real estate in Orange County. So that's what's next, because I don't want to drive an R8 forever, man. I want an STO.
That's awesome. Yeah, real estate's popping right now. I actually got a real estate property too, like during the pandemic.
Nice.
So having a multifamily property was really, really beneficial for me. It was like a brand new property that came from the ground up. So you get that 1 year of coverage from the builder, and then you get 10 years of structural coverage.
Nice.
So that was awesome. And it was just, I work from home. So, just having that passive income and the ability to kind of travel everywhere. I mean, awesome. I think you and me both know we both want freedom, right? In different forms, right? Yours could be a car, whipping it out, going everywhere, just like traveling the world. Mine could be just like traveling from different country to country. But at the end of the day, we just want to just have fun and freedom, right? But real estate is definitely popping, man. I mean, right now, like the interest rate's a little high, but as you know, but
I think it'll come down.
Yep.
We'll see though.
I think so. I mean, I do work for the Fed, so. But no. I can't really. I have no idea if it will come down or not. But right now, I mean, during the pandemic was a great time to invest. That's all I'll say.
Yeah.
So, but so I guess with real estate, is there anything you're trying to find out, or you're just trying to find it, like go for the license and then, see how it is to become like a real estate broker?
Yeah. So, something interesting I've learned is merging skill sets and interests from previous careers to create unique opportunities. So I have a military background. I also am very plugged in the car scene, and my next frontier is real estate. So being a veteran, I have access to the VA loan, which I can leverage to get more rental properties. If you're a veteran and you don't know what the VA loan is, you need to learn, because that is a huge opportunity. While I was at a supercar event, I saw a McLaren with ridiculous holographic blue wheels, and I was like, cool, I want to meet that guy. So I walked up to him and introduced myself, and we connected. We ended up becoming good friends. Turns out he owns a massive like real estate firm where he lends out capital for people to buy properties. So he's a mortgage firm. So He's told me, he was like, if you want to drive a faster car, you need to become a broker for two reasons. One, you can help me get more business. And two, it will teach you how to buy and rent out your own properties, leveraging that VA loan. So how I can be an asset to his company is I have base access as a reserve. I'm still a reserve captain. I can bring my supercar on base, park it, and then arrange meetings with active duty troops to teach them how to use that VA loan. And by doing that, I am brokering deals for his mortgage firm. Now, he gets the W because I'm bringing him a lot of business. The veterans get a W because early on in their career, they're figuring out how to use a loan that's going to earn them a lot of money in the long run. And then I get a W because not only am I using that same loan to do the same thing I'm teaching them how to do, but I'm brokering deals in between. So, and then fitting that all in with content creation. So it's a great way to scale, like you mentioned, passive income, but also use the access and tools and experiences that I had from previous careers and applying it to anybody can do real estate, but not everybody can do real estate as an Air Force captain. So there was a quote that I read recently. It said, "Life is unfair. Make it unfair to your advantage." So not everybody can join the Air Force, and not everybody has a VA loan, but I do. What is your VA loan? What is your Air Force? Like, what is the thing that you have that most people don't, that you can merge with a basic opportunity like real estate or marketing or whatever it is you want to get into to create something unique that only you can offer? That's what I'm doing.
No, that's amazing. And real estate too, like even this past year, man, I mean, the number of people I know that became real estate agents is insane. Like it's a shit ton of people. And they're doing all these reels and stuff because in class. So funny thing you didn't know is like I actually went for the real estate license too, but I didn't end up pursuing it because it was conflicting with work. But my mom's a mortgage loan originator, so she does the rates and stuff, the percentages.
That's what I'm gonna do. Yeah, that's what I'm gonna do. MLO.
Oh, so you're gonna do mortgage loan or
not a real estate agent? Yeah, MLO.
MLO. Okay, perfect. So maybe we can connect after. But anyways, for guidance or something. But anyways, like that is the thing that like I feel like a lot of people would go in as real estate and they would kind of show in the houses. But if you could fuse that with just cars and stuff, and you already have experience with reels, it's going to make you so much more content. Just because people love to see the prices of houses, the areas, your geographic location, and even in classes they teach you like first thing nowadays is like, oh, go on Instagram and make a real estate account and then just sell yourself. So even as an MLO, you can, brand yourself, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. So, and have a LinkedIn. So I think that's really interesting, dude. Is there any questions you have for me, by the way? Or, I would love to know, because I think I've asked you enough questions for the day.
Oh, it's all good, man. I mean, like, what's your goal with this podcast?
So I want to make an impact on the world. So I personally had kind of like a mental health, like, just epiphany, like few years back. I kind of had like an incident that happened. But from this, I kind of want to understand people and understand like the perspectives they have to go through, whether it's career, whether it's experiences, whether it's different kinds of, diversity that comes up, or different kinds of perspectives. I want to know like their struggles and their past. And I'm just a very curious person to understand like how the world works and how people work, because I've always been big on diversity. Growing up, I had a diverse set of friends, Hispanic, Arabic, Indian, and all kinds of different kinds of diversity. So I wanted to know how people work. So that's my motivation behind it. I'm kind of doing it for, just my own hobby and passion. And it's more about understanding people rather than making money. I mean, to fund the channel would be nice, but at the same time, I'm kind of doing it to just kind of get to know people. And, I think you're great to like understand too, because everyone has a story, right? And no matter what, you're never going to run out of people's individualism. So I love to make an impact. And I'm, there's the reason I got into this is because of Jay Shetty. I read the book Think Like a Monk, and nice. Just to listen to someone and to come with a calm mind and just be open to people. Like me not knowing shit about supercars because I'm not a car guy makes me feel like I'm very interested to know now because I talked to you. But if I thought I knew and I looked everything up, then we just had that same conversation of, little things. But to learn and be a student of something, it's very hard because you're learning something from someone every day, So yeah, that's my motivation, man. I just want to be an impact on the world. And do badass things and just have fun with this, So
Nice. I like it.
yeah, thank you, man. I appreciate it. So, yep, sounds good. So thank you so much for coming on. If you have any, we should connect after. But other than that, I really appreciate your perspective. It's really impactful, and I think you have a lot to bring. So thank you so much, and hopefully you come on again. We'd love to hear your
Man, I
journey.
appreciate you having me for sure.
Thank you, Will. Appreciate it.